Hey, good evening. All right, the little pop-up came up. I've only been doing this a couple years, guys. I don't really know how it works. So my jaglones and my new people. Looks like we've got some new folks here to see Sam, which is great. First off, my daughter did my makeup today, and she thinks the eyeshadow is blush. So you'll notice my blue cheeks for highlights. I took the lipstick off. I think I got most of it. Big D Turtles. That's a awesome name. That is an awesome name for a business. Had to change my name up. That's fantastic. Big D. All right, that's Dougie. All right, good. Tonight we're talking with Sam Schulman of Soda. Do you pronounce it Soda, Sam, or is it just SOTA? Soda Exotics. We're going to talk about tortoises specifically tonight, but we might dabble in some other stuff, and then we're already talking about future episodes because Sam's got a lot of stuff. So, as so many of us do, right? So last week, if you remember, if you were taking notes, we talked about turtles, specifically mud turtles and musk turtles. Tonight, we're going to talk about Hermann's tortoises with two N's. I may fix that thing, probably not. I may fix thumbnail, probably not. We know I don't do any work for the show. I can still taste lipstick. So there may also be some purple eyeshadow. So I didn't get a shiner. That's cheating. Turtles forever keep crushing it. Thanks, man. I hope he's talking to me. All right, Sam, you ready? Sam's got a lot of energy, so be ready for that. I'm gonna be laughing a lot because I can't match that energy. So ever. Sam, welcome to ISO Buddies.
Yoo-hoo. What's up?
So perfect energy. So we met like 3 weeks ago on 12 Days of Christmas, the 12 Supreme Days of Christmas, or the preview for that.
Yes,
yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
Briefly. And as soon as you were off, I was like, that guy, I need to contact this guy and have him on the show. So I'm just upset that you're like a lot handsomer than me. That's the only thing I'm upset about. So maybe make your small. So yeah, I told all the ladies to sign in and watch tonight. The problem is most of my audience, the ladies are like lesbians. So I don't know. We might turn them. Tonight.
Fine by me.
Oh, maybe spark ideas. We can spark ideas. Not that you need that, ladies first. Handsome Sam. Phil, Philip Simpson?
Yeah, Phil's a good buddy of mine who's over in Virginia. He is also a tortoise and turtle nerd. Good buddy.
They're all over the place. And it's like a weird, I've noticed with tortoise and turtle people, they're such a community. Like it's more tight-knit, I think, than a lot of other exotics communities. Like you guys will go all over.
Yeah, it's really cool because we got people all over the world that are part of this community, and you see some of the people who are specifically doing work with turtles and tortoises. They're doing those who are doing it right and for the right reasons are doing it really well. But you also see a really dark side of it because you got people who are flipping ball pythons and crap, but when it comes to turtles and tortoises, there's people smuggling them because they're so valuable in other countries and stuff. So it's a double-edged sword. You see really good sides of it for those who are doing it right, but there's also that really dark negative side of the people who are, just try to smuggle stuff and you do it for money and all that in a crazy way.
We're going to touch on some of that later. When we're going to talk a little bit about Egyptian tortoises, guys, because I have to, because I'm addicted to seeing them. And that's what I wanted to touch on there is smuggling and possible the black market, the dark side, and then crappy sulcatta tortoises. So I talk trash about them. I love them. I talk trash about them so people don't want them because I don't think no one is prepared. Like less than 1% of people are prepared for them.
Mm-hmm.
But Hermann's tortoises, who's right behind you? Because there's some active tortoises right behind you.
That's actually my redfoot tortoise enclosure. It's a bioactive enclosure that I set up about a month ago, I'd say now. Okay. And everyone told me it would not work, but I like to prove people wrong by doing bioactive tortoise enclosures. And it's doing phenomenal right now. All the plants are living and the tortoises are active and constantly trying to breed. So it's doing really well, and I'm proud of that.
Okay, awesome. Mark made a comment about they're not smuggling Egyptian tortoises, and that's good. I just think they're smuggleable size. I think they're very smuggleable size, and that's why I would want to use them kind of as an example. Um, yeah, I don't want to solve that problem tonight. So Hermann's tortoises don't have to smuggle them. They're not endangered. They're readily available in the hobby. They're an
Correct. Yeah.
easily accessible tortoise. So
Yeah.
let's talk about Hermann's tortoises. So you don't only need to keep one, right? You don't. They're not like a group pet.
Most tortoises, people you'd be surprised, like think they need to have like like I see this all the time, but like they're like,
Yeah.
oh, I want to have a friend for it, but a lot of tortoises are really aggressive when you have like just one and one.
Okay.
Even females and females, I've seen it. I think the other tortoise people could probably comment if I'm wrong, but I think the only communal tortoise out there, communal, is the pancake tortoise.
Okay.
They actually live in groups in the wild. There might be others, but yeah, truly, like, most tortoises are solitary animals.
Which you have those too. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Another one of our crew where you just keep a million. So you went isopod style with tortoises. Got to have them all.
Yeah, literally.
Which
That's
is
the
fine.
goal. Start
Which
my
is
stud
fine.
book.
Yeah, right. Um. So okay. So if I'm getting Hermans, I only need one. How big are they getting? What do I need?
Depends. So most
Okay.
Hermans that we see in the U.S. are Eastern Hermann's tortoises.
Okay.
Um, Really, the females may top out at like 8 inches. They don't get really, really big.
Okay.
Um, and thankfully, you oftentimes in like pet shops, you'll see them right at that 4 inch mark because they're getting imported in from out of the country.
Okay.
And it's the same thing with Russian tortoises too. But luckily, we've got more people starting to breed them, so we're having more captive bred, more purified like bloodlines of them in the U.S. that you can get, which I prefer. I'm not. I mean, obviously, at some point we got to get every animal from the wild, but really
Yeah.
the captive breeding side of thing is so much better, because in
Yeah.
their natural areas in the wild they are dwindling, even though they're such a common tortoise that we see here in this country. But yeah, they don't get very very big. They're considered a small species of tortoise, which is nice, and it's manageable for people, especially if you want to do it indoors, you can do that too.
That's my thought. Like my wife is big into tortoises, and I didn't really want to get into tortoises. Um, but I think that might be or tortoisei, as it says on the on the top of this video. Um, just because it's one more thing, but I think it would go in the exact same. Like I have a setup here. This is my blue tongue skink.
Hmm.
It's essentially a dog pool.
Yeah.
And she's doing great in there. But something about that size, would that be? It's about 4 foot across.
Yeah. I mean, that could be the
Like that
minimum for them
footprint.
if you have a singular animal.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
That's good. I've got plenty of space, so that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to leave my camera alone. And yeah, I can't keep Sam still, so he's standing up, probably be marching around later. It's all good. He's a next level guest. So just turtles. Just turtles thinks it's awesome that you're just standing. Great. A lot of energy. A lot of energy. Okay, so what size are you looking at then for these guys to be? Like, because your setups look like they're about 4 foot long, 5 foot long.
My indoor setups
Yeah.
I keep them in waterland tubs during the winter.
Okay.
During the summer, I've been not now have pens outside, so they basically just have almost free range. In
Nice.
my mind, the bigger the better.
Always. Yep. Always.
But yeah, so like I have a small pair of Western Hermans that I just keep in, like, it's like a little stock tank that I got from Tractor Supply, and then
Okay.
my adults I got two separate waterland tubs that I keep them in. I kind of separate them out in there for the winter. So
Okay.
the waterland tubs I think are like 6 foot by 3 foot, and then maybe like a foot and a half deep. But
Okay.
it's
And they're
not it's
not.
not perfect. I will admit it's not something you really want to do. Uh, but we have to do what we can, especially when it comes to the winter time. These are a species that I could actually probably keep outside year round just because they do brumate naturally.
Okay.
I just choose not to. Maybe in the future I might, but we'll see
I
from
mean,
there.
why risk it if you don't have to? Why
Yeah,
risk it
that's
if you
kind of how
have
I
the
am with it.
option? So, and I feel like I don't know. So 6 by 3 isn't even big enough. You don't think for, in your opinion?
Really, probably not.
Wow.
I
Okay.
mean, maybe
Okay.
for a singular animal, yeah,
Yeah.
but I got them separated 4 and 4,
Okay.
and that, but I hate to say it and say it on a live when I just said the
No.
bigger is better, but what can I do?
I mean, like you said too, though, it's temporary. It's not
Yeah.
like it's all year round. Like they could almost, you could brewmate them and put them in a shoebox essentially.
Mhm.
So like
Yeah.
they're still living their best life. You know, they're not getting predated. They're not getting preditized. There, that's definitely the word, right?
Yeah.
Preditized is the word. they're they're not worried about any threats. They've got 3 hots in a cot. They're doing fine.
Yeah.
But I like that. I think a lot of people would not see that and be like, "Oh, I have breeding set up, 2 females and a male," which I assume is right. Is that what you want to do? Like
It
roughly?
varies. So like for example, uh like all our Egyptian people, they'll say you'll want 2 males and 1 female so that
Oh,
they
okay.
could have that competition to get them. So but it varies. Last year I had my ratio, I think for my Hermes tortoises was like 2 males and 4 females, and I got like a bunch of eggs. And then this year I had 3 males and 6 females, and I didn't get a single egg this year.
Weird.
So it's
Weird.
weird. Yeah, it could be maybe it's something that I did wrong. But yeah, you like this year I didn't get any eggs from them.
Was it the same 2 guys? Was it the same 2 males?
Yeah,
And then you just added another male and he was just a cock
another male
blocker?
and a couple females, and yeah, I didn't get a single egg this year.
You got to name that third male cock blocker. You
Yeah,
just got to
literally.
name him that. With a K, so it's okay for the kids. You know, it's not really. Um, yeah, he's definitely, that guy's telling like dad jokes at the party and just bringing the vibe down. He's just bringing that vibe down.
It's a shame. It's a shame.
It's not good. It's not good. You got to separate him out. And the nerds,
Yeah,
go in the
literally.
corner, nerd. We've all been there. We've all been there. So okay, so yeah, I'm thinking like a lot of people I believe average folk would think that like a 40 breeder is fine for a couple, and that is not
Yeah,
the case.
we've over the years we've learned a lot about how to raise tortoises. A big thing that I'm sure you've probably seen is pyramiding. Um, so pyramiding is when you have you're probably over the biggest thing. There's many different debates about it, but one of the biggest ones is humidity. You
Okay.
want to raise most species of tortoises with a lot of humidity when they're younger, because that humidity will cause their shells to be a lot more smooth.
Okay.
You see all these turtles in captivity and whatever, they have these bumpy shells with all these like little, it literally looks like pyramids coming out of it, and that's because they're not raising them with ample humidity as hatchlings. And another topic that people get into is the UVB and the heating and
Yeah.
overfeeding too. So you want to feed, like, a perfect example for this would be ball python people that they're power feeding their animals to get them up to size really
Yeah.
quick. But
Gross. Yeah.
turtle people, we don't want to do that. We want to grow our animals slow, so we can allow them, to be in the best possible shape as they get older.
Well, and that's their
Uh,
lifestyle. Like that's their whole evolution is to
yeah,
grow slowly.
yeah, they're
So
creatures of habit. So yeah, 40-gallon breeder that doesn't it's not going to hold any humidity in there, and you don't really have
okay.
enough space for it to escape to like you want a gradient in there for heat and humidity and all that too, and for it to have
Yeah.
a drier area or more humid area too. So yeah, 40 gallon, I mean, if you can do it right, I believe anything with any type of enclosure, if you can figure out how to do it or modify it, you can do it
Yeah.
right. But that's not always the case, and which is kind of the weird caveat to this too is I just showed it to my tortoise buddies in my group chat, but I have a leopard tortoise that I've had since I was 14, so I've had it 12 years now. Got him as a sophomore in high school, and I did everything wrong. Like
Oh wow.
I kept him on like the crushed walnut bedding in a glass enclosure, like no humidity. And I don't know how, but he has one of the smoothest shells out of any leopard tortoise I've ever seen. And everybody that knows tortoises know
Yeah.
leopard tortoises are like one of the worst when it comes to pyramiding. Like
I
you
didn't know
almost,
they could have a smooth shell. I didn't know that
yeah.
was. I thought they had the
And
bumps, and that's a thing.
yeah, you rarely see it in the wild. But yeah, my
Okay.
leopard tortoise, his shell is almost like bowling ball smooth. It has a little bit of pyramiding, but like nothing compared to like what you see even anywhere else, really.
That's
But so
what
it's weird how that
that's what I hate
happens.
about the hobby. Everybody knows one person that's like, I just kept it in a bathtub, sprayed it down once a month, and
Yeah, and
he's fine. I feed him cat food. He's all right.
it's weird
Um, and he is.
situations.
Yeah. And you look at that animal and it's beautiful, but it's not, it's hard to argue with that person. Like, no,
Hmm.
you're doing everything wrong. You're 100% wrong on all of this.
Yeah, if I were to go back, I wouldn't have done it the way I did. But when you're 14 and you're just in
Yeah.
that kind of phase where like, okay, I just want to get, and I thought I was doing it right, but I really wasn't. But yeah, but he's doing great now, so that's the good
Yeah,
thing.
it is good. I mean, you lucked out. Could
I
have been
did.
a totally different story, right?
I really did.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people that are on that, and like I didn't know that I thought the leopard tortoises just had that.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
think
wild.
there's been times where you can see it in the wild, but it's very. I think I saw a photo like 2 years ago of one pyramid in the
Yeah,
wild, but like you rarely see pyramiding in the wild as compared to captivity.
that's crazy. I wonder if we're
But
going to
it
see
does
more
occur.
of
It
it.
does occur in the wild.
I wonder if we're going to see more of it because of climate change. That's just
Hey,
a
that's a good
thought.
topic to get into.
Just a thought that occurred to me. We could do that another time.
Yeah.
We'll get into climate change. I'll say that it's not real, and you just say that it's real, and then we'll argue. I like the devil's advocate thing. So,
Yeah. Oh, I'm all about that too.
yeah, I call it moron arguments, but you could say devil's advocate. That sounds
Yeah.
so you want to keep them big. 6x3. You don't even think that's big enough for a breeding setup, like for four. Let's say 4 tortoises.
It just depends. If you could, no, for 4, definitely not. You could do 2. But 1 or 2, I would say at maximum. But they're very especially when they're very territorial animals too. Like if you see them ramming each other's, you got to separate them. And even with females, they'll do that to each other. So, I always, like I said, bigger is better for me. I don't follow that always, but if you're doing 2 of them, get a waterland tub if you can. You can do like Tractor Supply and get their stock tanks. But waterland's probably the way to go because they're specifically built for turtles and tortoises. So works out for them that way.
Figure that out. We're getting requests to see some tortoises, so I don't know what's nearby.
Oh, that's Steve.
Redfoot. That's
Steve has some really cool shit. He's got. I'm gonna grab a glove here real quick. He's got. He works with a lot of Indo-Testudo, so Forstons tortoises. What's the other one I can't think of right now? I can't even think about it. But
you just put on gloves.
Yeah, I'm really weird about gloves. Like all my animals, like I always put on gloves. Like even like isopod. I don't know why. I think it's just because I'm a slight germaphobe in some way. I don't know, but
sure. I think it's a good practice. I think that's helping you out. Do people know what you do for a living? Is that a secret or no?
No. Yeah, everyone knows what I do for a living. I kill bugs.
Yeah, so you work for an exterminator, and like that's dangerous for having animals.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you got to be real careful. So gloves, I think, just as a practice, like it's good that you're a germaphobe. Like I think a lot of people would have problems. That is a beautiful redfoot.
Yeah, so this is my male cherry head redfoot tortoise. My fiance actually got him for me in 2021, I think.
Okay.
It's a COVID
baby.
Yeah, he's definitely a male. I mean, his tail's huge. You can't really see it, but definitely a male, and just one I've had for quite a few years now. I'll show you. I go off camera real quick to grab this guy.
Yeah,
because this is a cool species.
We love the cool species. Elongated tortoises. Come on, Sam.
That's what it was.
Is that what he wants to see? Oh, that's what he's saying.
Tortoises
Okay.
Too. So this one here, this is Conyxus homiana, which is the Holmes hingeback tortoise.
Okay.
These guys were like highly wild caught, and they had this issue with this I don't know if it's a parasite or whatever it is, bacteria. I don't know, but it's called teak. Okay. And it literally was like devastating populations, and it's a highly contagious sickness or whatever.
Okay.
So like people would get these tortoises and they would just like die. And so I have 2 long-term captive females. And this is a captive bred. I don't know if it's a male or female yet, but this was gifted to me from a buddy. And like these tortoises, they're so cool. Like he's got like, it's hard to see, but he's got like these serrations, and like you can touch them, and they're actually like sharp. It's insane.
Wild.
So these guys they're called like the African version of box turtles because they actually have a hinge. That's why they're called the hingeback tortoise. They have a hinge, and they can actually close up their shell partially as well.
I think I've seen those guys. It closes from the top, like the plastron closes, right? It's not the.
Yeah, I think these guys, it only closes from the back. Box turtles can close their shell fully, front and back.
Yeah, don't get your finger caught in there. It's
Oh
not.
yeah, it's like hell. But
I
yeah,
do
these
not
guys are
recommend.
so cool. They're really shy, but this is a captive born one, and
Okay.
like they're so hardy after you get the captive born version of these. And I really didn't like this tortoise at first, but honestly, I've like fallen in love with it. They have these weird, like this alien looking head with this
Yeah, those
big Google
bug eyes.
eye.
Are they
Um,
nocturnal?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
But they're a low heat tortoise. They live in like forests in Africa. They don't like it super hot, and they like it
Okay.
kind of dark. So I don't know. It's just really weird. But like, there's so many turtles and tortoises out there, and each one has their own different unique trait
Yeah.
that I just find really interesting. So yeah, I mean, this is just a really cool species. I'd like to. I wouldn't want to work with these like full amount, but I would like
Yeah.
to get maybe just a single breeding pair to help because these are critically endangered now too.
Yeah. See,
Um,
that would be really good. I think like the small projects and then keeping them in the pet trade,
yeah,
and away from whatever that is. I think, is it a protozoa? That tink you were talking about?
it's
Does somebody know?
it's testudo intranuclear cryptios. I don't know. I can't remember. I think if
Okay, no
Anthony or
worries.
whatever of them is in here, they could say it. But
Come on, guys, put your big turtle heads together.
I
And maybe not.
get
Maybe
too excited.
that
And I
sounds
forget.
awful. That sounds
Yeah.
awful. Don't put your turtle heads together. That's
Yeah.
probably for a different channel. Looks way better than the ones I've seen at shows. Well done, Sam. That's my buddy
Thanks.
Doug, who was on. Big D is my buddy Doug, who's on last week.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
yeah.
He had a really cool talk too.
What's a type of coccidia? So, okay. So, yeah. Do not recommend that either. I've gotten that from a dog.
Oh,
So, not good.
no
I'm a
bueno.
big fan of letting dogs lick my mouth, and I was a vet tech, and I'm not a big fan. Like, I don't promote it, but I don't run away either. And so he had it, and then I had it. It was not good. I've had some stuff. Cryptosporidium.
Yep.
That would be it. Yeah. That's my fiance. Is that Coda Cross? Who's that?
Oh,
Is that?
she commented? Yeah, that's my fiance.
Yeah. Oh, well, welcome to the show, Coda. Thanks for like and subscribe. Like spike. Where's everybody asking for like spikes? Come on, guys. It equals bad news. So now, if you got that in your collection, that could threaten your whole collection, right? It's not
Essentially,
just them.
yeah. So oftentimes, I mean, most reptile people should do this anyways. Well, the people who are like really into like the preservation side of things, the turtles and tortoises, like we have a whole separate area to quarantine them and everything.
Sure.
We do,
Yeah.
a lot of people do testing and stuff like that. All that crap. But yeah, so I had every single animal I've gotten, I've had a quarantine, and just to be safe, because especially because I keep them all in my basement here. I don't want to spread everything, especially when you're working with ESA. I mean, really, any of the species, but like our critically endangered species or ESA species, those are important animals that, we're trying to build up assurance colonies of. So you don't want to risk hurting those, especially.
Like literally every specimen counts at that point. So,
you
want to do your best.
It really is. Yeah.
And make sure you're not like hypothetically shipping that out to somebody else too,
exactly.
like accidentally. All right, we're gonna get back to Hermann's because I'm trying to keep it. I know we can talk about different kinds of tortoises for probably 6 months. I could have you on every week for 6 months, at least. But so Hermann's, you said you're keeping them. People do it differently with breeding, so you keep them in groups. Whatever works, kind of. Is that kind of what it sounded like?
Essentially, yeah, as long as they're getting everything they need, whatever works. I mean, I try to mimic. My Hermanns are one I haven't done it yet, but like I try to do naturalistic bioactive enclosures for all my tortoises. That's something I've been slowly working on. So next one probably would hopefully be Hermann's, but it would be a tough one for sure, just because they are so destructive and they're very active tortoises. They have a lot of personality, but yeah, it's like I said, keep them as long as you got the essentials, you clean water. I like deep substrate, couple hides, your UVB, your basking. Don't overfeed them. I like to feed a mix of different variety is so important. And it's okay if I give shameless plugs too.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay,
It's your show. Do what you want.
There's a guy named Will. He has Capitola Farms, and he makes dried foods. Actually, I have some of it right here. I can grab. He does dried foods for.
Can one of you guys spell that out in the comments? Why don't you guys put that in the comments, please? I know some of you people watching right now know what he's talking about.
Kapidol. No, I don't know. I can't spell right now. Oh,
Somebody's watching with a bag in their hand. So
yeah.
Capodolo. Okay.
But Will, he provides like different foods that can sometimes be hard to get, and he has dried versions of them. So like I like to mix it in with my greens and stuff like that. So variety is the best thing you can do. I'm all
they're
about
down.
variety.
They're down with that food. They seem really interested in it too.
Yeah,
when it's mixed.
I don't. Some people might disagree with me, but you always get people who say like, "Oh, my tortoise is picky," and it's like I don't think you're. I get all my tortoise. I can get all my tortoises to eat whatever, and it's just you got to take the time to slowly incorporate the food into stuff that they do like, and then you can switch it over. I've never had any issues with any of my turtles or tortoises not eating what I don't want them to.
I mean, just take a spoon and you throw it in there and say, "Eat it, Tina." Right?
Yeah, literally. Basically, you just harass them until they get it.
If you don't want to get the hose again, you'll eat
it's literally like a kid. If you don't eat it, okay, you're not eating.
With my veggies on my bluey, I do veggies kind of often, but I do a mix. But I'll mix it and chop it up with the fruit that I give her too. So then it's got like dressing on it. So she's getting it. I'm tricking her essentially into eating her veggies.
Oh, definitely.
She's not a fan. Okay, so Sam, Doug want to know, how long do you quarantine for? Like, he typically does 90 days.
Yeah, I do about 60. But it varies. I mean, for my Connexus Helmiana, I did it for like, I think it was like a couple of months just to really be safe. And not that I didn't trust like who I got them from, like, good buddies of mine gave them to me, but it's just like, hearing the stories, you really don't want to risk it. But I do minimum 60 days.
I mean, we just heard about somebody having an outbreak of, with the dart frogs, having an outbreak of that mold.
Yeah, Josh's frogs, yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't want to get into that again, but that's something that if it can happen to them, it can happen to anyone. You know what I mean? Like, that's a big business that knows their stuff, or something got slipped. Got slipped, and that's what could happen. That's potentially what could happen to you. Mm-hmm. So, and they don't want that to happen, but that's something that could definitely affect their business and their whole community.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Wild. So they're not that tough to eat. These guys are pretty
common in the reason hobby. Why I think Hermann's tortoises are literally the best tortoises, because they're super hardy. They can tolerate, kind of extreme conditions. Like they can tolerate cold. They can tolerate the heat. Not that you should be doing that, but like they're just. I've never had issues with Hermann's tortoise. Like they will eat right up to. They're very personable. They're just kind of a rock solid tortoise. They don't get big, which is such an important thing. They don't get big.
One. Bust them out.
Yeah, I'll grab one real quick.
Bust them out, bro. That's why we're here, bro. We're not really bros yet, you guys. I'm jumping the gun, but I want to be. Okay. So, yeah, these are the setups that he's got, his indoor setups. You can see that top one there. I think it's where the Redfoot was at, right? Is that still the Redfoot?
That's the Redfoot tortoise enclosure. I'm going to grab a bucket. So
it just looks dope.
I know this animal's going to shit all over me.
Okay, awesome.
But yeah, so this is one of my males, Eastern Hermann's tortoises. And like some tortoises, like some of the tortoises that I pick up, they just immediately withdraw to the shell. Like these guys just don't care. Don't care in the world.
It's like a red-eared slider.
So, yeah, literally.
It's like a dry red-eared slider.
Yeah, it's essentially what it is. But yeah, like they're just chill tortoises, man. This is probably about as big as he's gonna get for a male. Females
can do. Awesome.
Yeah, I love small tortoises. Like I know if Dawson's still here, like he's a big tortoise guy. A lot of my friends are big tortoise people. I like small tortoises. So
they're big. Like they like them big.
Yeah,
they like them big. Okay, we're gonna talk shit about sulcattas later, guys. I'm real sorry, but I think you'll be on board. I think you'll all be on board. Yeah, I just think they're cool. They're not pretty, but whatever. You can put stickers on them. They'll be fine.
Yeah, you can paint their shells like school teachers do.
Yeah, isn't that great for them? They love it, right? I'm going to take that laugh as no.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
Right in the bucket. Look at you. Now, how did you know he was going to die? How did you know he was going to shit?
That's just what they do, man.
This is what they do?
That's just what
they do. As soon as you pick them up, they just drop it?
Not immediately. Sometimes they'll make you wait a little bit. They'll make you think that they're not going to, and then they're like, "Oh, cool. You can go right on his lap now and just shit everywhere."
And it's one of the worst smells. Like turtle dung. He's still going.
He's still going. Yeah.
It sounds like you're dropping like I don't know what it sounds like you're dropping. Like it just
Yeah, it's not
raisins.
fun.
It sounds like raisins in a bucket is what it sounds like.
Yep. Good times.
Nice Dynamite reference, Mark. Napoleon Dynamite is one of those movies that it's either one of your favorites immediately or you hate it completely. There's no middle ground.
I've not seen it in a very long time. I'm gonna put it.
I love it. I think I watched it 10 times in 10 days. It was
really
so good. Yeah.
Oh, we beat a world record.
It's one of my most quoted. That and Kung Pao, The Legend Continues. What is Kung Pao?
Kung Pao? I always like to say Kung Pao chicken for some reason.
I mean, that's a thing. Yeah, Kung Pao is. I'll send you a link. It's if you're into old kung fu movies, it's amazing.
Like old Jackie Chan?
No, prior, like pre-Jackie Chan. Well, I guess Jackie Chan probably was around then doing kung fu, but like old Jackie Chan.
Okay.
Old Jackie Chan.
Okay.
But you'll see. I'll explain to you later. We'll go into it.
Yeah.
Watching on a recent flight a few months ago. Napoleon Dynamite, Justin? Yeah, Napoleon Dynamite's one of those movies. You either love it or hate it. My wife hates it. I don't understand that mentality, but whatever. That's fine. That's fine. So they're easy to keep. Definitely hardy. Don't get big. These sound like the perfect, basically, starter tortoise.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple you can all mention too. Like, some of my buddies will say Russians, captive bred, and all that. But, it's really just what you like. Like, I think Russian tortoises are so ugly. Like, I like the way Hermann's look because they have a little bit more, variety to them in terms of their coloring. So, that's just the one I pick. But Russian tortoises are essentially pretty much the same. Yeah. So, it's just for me, I pick Hermann's tortoises just because I like them.
There's something about Russian tortoise. I don't know what it is, but something about their aesthetic I didn't like either, or I would probably have them because I haven't been offered them, but I've been offered a discount on them, and I was like, we'll see.
Yeah,
and I have
those are probably they're farmed, which is essentially the same shit as wild caught. Jesus, they're essentially the same shit as wild caught, but they'll like power feed these animals over and wherever they're breeding them in Europe or whatever, like dog food and stuff, and that's why they're getting all these like fucked up shells when you see them at pet shops and stuff. Like you're in Juliet, so I'm sure you've probably been to Chicago Reptile House. Like I grew up going there, and their tortoises there, like if you see their Russian tortoises, like they look like shit.
I can't talk trash about them here. I'm not allowed because they started NARBC. Like they're the guys.
And I love them. Like I grew up going there. Like I know them and everything. But it's like it's just a thing with a lot of pet shops. Like they just get these wholesale tortoises, and they don't really realize, like they say they're farm bred, but they don't really look deeper into it to see like where they're really coming from and all that. So sure.
And they got a lot going on.
Yeah.
It was. I got a big mouth, so I got to keep it down a little bit.
Yeah.
This is just a Pepsi again, guys. Nitro, it's the best. Pepsi, if you're watching, I will pimp your stuff for just more Pepsi. Steven wants to know where they're from. I'm gonna guess Steven knows where they're from.
He probably wants to know everyone. But they're from Europe.
He's coaching. This is good.
Actually, this brings up a good topic though, because like you have 3 different types of Hermann's tortoises. You have the Eastern Hermanns, which are the really ones that you see everywhere here. You have the Dalmatian Hermanns, which I kind of like to explain it as it's a cross between the Eastern and the Western. And then you have the Western Hermanns, which are, in most cases, a little bit smaller, but their coloring is so much more beautiful. And Chris Leone of Garden State Tortoise does a lot of work with the Westerns, like pure bloodlines. And they're like, from Italy, France, Corsica, a couple of different islands. But the Western Hermanns, they're endangered, and they're having this issue where they're actually starting to interbreed with Eastern Hermanns in their native ranges. So we're getting these impurified bloodlines in their native range, which is hurting their population too.
I mean, it'll happen probably as their population goes down. They're just, hey, you're kind of the same as me. I'm gonna hook up. Like, let's make some babies.
Yeah. I forgot where I was going with that. Oh yeah, but from Europe. I think they can go a little bit farther east. I don't remember the exact countries.
Like Eurasia type of area.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but
Poland,
mostly Europe.
Yeah, Eastern European, that kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's wild. I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to look up the Western ones later.
The Westerns are like, look on Chris's website. Because he has all, like, I could literally talk for 3 years about Western Hermits because there's different localities. There's so many, and they all have these like minute differences in them. And you don't want to interbreed localities because they're, from different. It's just crazy. Like the Westerns, it's just a whole deep rabbit hole you can get down with them.
You just get like a pedigree with your tortoise.
No, literally, it's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
So we got quite
I want that.
Yeah, the Westerns are awesome. We got people here in the U.S. breeding pure bloodlines and stuff, but I think as a whole, we need to do a little bit better of like kind of documenting where their bloodlines are from and making sure we have documentation, almost like a stud book for them. That's something I would like to see for Western Hermans. I think that we could do a lot better with them in terms of how we're exchanging them and everything, and their breeding and all that.
Yeah, track where they're coming from, where they're going.
Yeah,
that's good. Especially something like this more or getting onto the cusp of endangered. You said they're getting to be in trouble. The Westerns, anyway.
Yeah.
So all these turtles that are tortoises that are better looking are. I feel like they're just easy to catch, so people will just go scoop them up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Basically every reason that when you hear talk about the different reasons why a population is declining in the wild for turtles and tortoises, it's literally every reason, like medicine for some cultures, population, getting pulled from the wild, bottlenecking, deforestation, all that crap is for them. Some in more ways than others, but a lot of people don't know this, but turtles and tortoises they make up the largest group of endangered animals in the world. Over 60% of turtles and tortoises, or chelonians is what we say, are endangered. So they're not the most endangered animal in the world, but as a group, they are.
Collectively.
Yeah. And it's really
crazy.
sad.
It makes sense. It makes some sense. So pet trade alone probably is responsible for 20% of that at least.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy. That's crazy. I wonder, I got a lot of theories. Captive bred Russian tortoises are so pretty. Okay.
I will say, the captive bred ones are a lot prettier than the wild caught ones. You could tell the difference. And I know some of our friends here, Cameron Lamb and
Mark is a fan. Mark is a fan of the Russians, apparently.
Okay, Mark, get some Bosley first. Mark is so bald. It's hilarious.
He's so bald. So there's no pyramiding. Mark had the humidity, the right humidity.
Ball smooth. Like his head literally shines. It's a little scary, honestly.
He had good humidity. The hatchling, he had real good humidity. So it shows. No pyramiding like this dome. Captive bred Russians. Captain bred. Somebody's phone is really being a jerk on autocorrect. That's really funny. Captain bred. Come out perfect round. They're beautiful. You're wrong. I mean, I don't like
the captive bred. Well, because the thing is, a lot of people don't know this too, but there's actually five different subspecies of Russian tortoises too. The captive bred ones they're awesome. Because the people who are working with them know what they're doing. A couple of our really good friends are breeding them, and they do look really good. They're just not mine. They're not a species for me. And I don't know. Maybe it's because just growing up and now learning about them and where they come from originally, like how it's happening, it kind of dismayed me a little bit from them. But yeah, when you see a captive bred Russian tortoise, it doesn't look like a Russian tortoise. I don't know how to explain what it looks like, but it looks completely different. It's insane.
I'll have to look around. I'll keep an eye out at shows.
Yeah.
They just started one that's happening like in my backyard essentially. So I'm gonna have to get on the ground floor on that one. We went to like the first one and it was okay, but
yeah,
I can't at a show. I can't focus once I see something shitty at the show, like somebody doing something awful. Now I can't focus. Like that's all I can look at now. That's all I can see is the trash.
I hate to say it, but I look for more of the bad than I look for the good. Because there's just so much of it now. Now that I've learned a lot about it, I can see so much more of the bad right in front of my face.
Yep, and now that I'm learning more about your chelonians, one of my favorite words. It sounds like jaglone, which is what my fans are called, somewhat.
Really?
Yeah, it's a long story, but it's because of Russ Wilson at Aquarimax Pets.
Yeah,
it's his fault.
I know him.
Yeah, everybody knows Russ, and they're better off for it. What is this? Can I feed Hermann's tortoises fruit?
I personally don't.
Okay.
And this is another big debate with, people who keep testudinae or whatever. But, you get some people who will feed them on a very rare occasion. Some people never. I typically don't. I wouldn't, but I know people that do. As long as
Yeah.
it's not in like a excessive amount, really. It has to be the right types of fruits too. Like berries, like blueberries, are like a good choice for some reason.
Okay.
But I don't really feed fruits to mine. If I do, I try to find like what's native to where they are, so that they're at least getting something that's kind of what their bodies could be more used to. But yeah, I
Designed
don't feed
to.
fruits to
Yeah.
mine. But that's for your own research to do if you want to do that.
Yeah. So what's one of their things that's like their jam? What's one of the things they're just all about?
I like uh weeds, like dandelion weeds and clover,
Okay.
moringa. Like there's so many plants, mulberry. Um yeah, they just like literally just like the classic weeds that you can find outside are good for them. But you want to there's an app called the Tortoise Table which I really like to use, and it literally will tell you like the different plants and if it's safe to feed them and stuff. So wildflowers, if you're doing store bought, I like to do arugula, endive,
Okay.
spring mix, romaine.
You're
And
mixing up a
like I
lot of
said, I
your
like to
greens.
vary
Yeah.
it. I do a little bit of commercial diet too. Um, so once a week I do Missouri, which I know some people don't really like that, but it's just something I like to do. It does have other ingredients in there, and it helps add a little variety into their diet. So I do commercial diets once a week as well.
I think the commercial diets, if you find a good one, there's a lot to be said for it because they're gonna have nutrients that maybe even your mixed, your very varied diet
Yeah.
might not have enough of, or it's just gonna give them a boost, like taking your vitamins, right?
Yeah,
So
that's kind of how I think of it. Now, I don't obviously you don't want to overfeed it clearly, but I do incorporate that into their diet too for
for
all my
sure.
tortoises.
So you don't overfeed at all, ever.
No, sometimes I mean, some people you'll hear like feed your tortoises every day. Like I used to do that, and now I feed them like every other day. Sometimes I'll even wait a couple days in between, but yeah, you don't need to overfeed. Slow and steady is the way you got to think about it. Feed them
Yeah.
slow, grow them slow. Um, you know, just take it slow with them.
Are you ever giving them like protein, like insects or anything like that?
Not
Mealworms, whatever.
not my Hermans, but there are some species that like protein. So like that hingeback tortoise that I showed you, the Connexus
Yeah.
homiana, they
Yeah.
love worms. Like mine will ravage worms. My wood turtles, which they're turtles, but they love worms.
Sure. Sure.
Some of them, I've even gotten some of mine to eat dubia roaches, weirdly enough. Um,
I would
but yeah, it just
imagine.
again, it
Yeah.
just each tortoise they come from all over the world, so you got to really know what they get in their areas. But they're also opportunistic. Like I'm sure everyone's seen that
Yeah.
video. I think it was the Aldabra or the Galapagos tortoise eating a bird. Like they're that's a species that typically doesn't do that, but they will take advantage of what they can get.
I mean, I saw
Um,
a deer eat a rabbit. I saw a video of a deer eating a rabbit. So
yeah, no, yeah. I watch Nature is Metal, and I see like the weird. Like there was a zebra eating like a dead deer or something. Like it was. I don't know. It's just there's crazy shit out there.
it's good. It's good vitamins. You never know.
Yeah.
Like they're
Yeah, but for my
foodies
Hermit
too.
tortoises, yeah, I don't feed them any protein or anything like that. It's mostly just leaf matter, dark leafy greens and stuff like that.
Yeah. You ever give
And a
them
little
like
bit
the
of commercial.
flowers? I noticed tortoise people with like hibiscus or other flowers.
Oh my god, hibiscus is like cocaine for tortoises. Like
That's
they
everything I
love that
see.
stuff. It's
Yeah.
it's insane. Like yeah, hibiscus, I love that stuff. Rosa Sharon, knockout rose. There's yeah, spirea, which is I don't think it's a flower, but yeah, there's a lot. Pansies, they love pansies.
Okay.
I think African marigolds or something. Yeah, so
Okay.
there's a lot of options out there, but you just got to take what you can get.
Yeah. And then I mean we're so lucky now in America with our grocery stores. What we can get is
Oh yeah,
insane. So
oh
the
yeah,
variety that our animals have access to is
yeah,
just crazy.
yeah. I
So
love that.
and the fact that I started eating better once I got a blue tongue because I'm keeping stuff for her that she wants, but that she's never going to eat enough of it
So
to
you're
go
eating
through the
dog
bag
food.
or whatever. A lot of dog food, a lot of canned dog food. More eggs. I eat more eggs. I
Okay,
eat more fish. Like I'll give her
there you
fish
go.
because that's what she gets
Yeah,
from where she was raised. So her breeder, and Sandy Skinks, shout out. Um, not all the time. I mean, this is like occasional stuff, but I'm eating better. So a lot of
yeah,
greens.
yeah.
I'm eating a lot more greens than I would. I got her dandelion flowers out of my yard. last year.
Hmm.
Lost her mind. I don't know. I didn't know that was a thing. She freaked out about it. She loved
Oh
it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I was like, okay, we can do that once in a while. But obviously now they're gone, and
yeah.
good luck getting them.
It's just funny because like the what the normal American thinks is an annoyance or a nuisance in their yard is like gold to
Yeah.
us. You know,
Well,
take
my
advantage
neighbor's
of what you
like,
can get.
your backyard's all dandelions. I'm like, isn't it awesome? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it so cool?
My
No, man.
neighbors, they've seen me like I walk outside with like a pair of gloves and a little bucket, and I'll like go around pulling all the weeds and everything. And they're like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Bring them right in the house.
I'm like, "Free tortoise food."
Yeah. Well, I gave I mean it's not a tortoise, but it's similar diets, but I gave Bingo the blue tongue chopped up the roots of it too, basically the dandelion, and she was
Okay.
down for that.
Yeah.
So and I know where it's coming from. It's not like there's no pesticides or anything in my I don't even
Yeah.
think any of
Yeah.
my
Definitely.
neighbors use pesticides.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good times. Worst case, she'll get the vinegar mix that I use to kill weeds on my patio. So Mark wanted to make sure everybody knows he's shaved and not bald.
Yeah. Yeah. I
It's on
love Mark. We
purpose.
we we joke a lot. I actually back in August I got invited to a Florida turtle tour. It was a group of just I think just under 15 of us. We all got in a van for a few days and we stayed in Airbnbs together, rode around to all different turtle private collections, zoo like facilities. Like we went to Iguana Land and all that, and then we ended off at Daytona. And it was seriously like you could write a book about it. It was so fun, and we did
That's
herping.
awesome.
Yeah, so I got that's where I met Mark originally. But it's just weird because like in the turtle community, if you're really in like to the preservation stuff, like
Yeah,
I this was my first year really like meeting a lot of the people in person, but like I felt like I knew them already. It was really
yeah.
weird how like welcoming it was, which I'm really appreciative of with this because yeah, it's just it's so welcoming if you're in it for the right reasons. And ultimately at the end of the day, yeah, we love the animals, but we want to try to, create assurance colonies in captivity so that, they're not dying out,
I haven't heard
because
that phrase. I like that phrase a lot. Insurance colonies. I
assurance
like that a lot.
colonies.
Assurance.
I guess insurance could work too.
Yeah, I was hearing it different, but it works either way.
Yeah.
Assurance, it like puts me at ease. We still have them. They're going to be around
Hmm.
because Sam has them. We're okay.
Yeah.
We'll have two at least.
Yeah. And ultimately, we want to get, a lot of these rarer species or more endangered species that we're working with, we want to get them to different other people and,
Yeah,
start mixing bloodlines and stuff like that. So we're getting, a little bit more genetic diversity and captivity and all that stuff too. So
keep that going. That's another
that's
reason
the
to keep
goal.
that another reason to keep that stud book.
Yeah.
See who's bred to who and who came from where. So now with these species that are, I know we're way out of Hermann's. Are we done with Hermann's? Who wants to know anything else about Hermann's? Put your question below. We're going to move on. We can come back to it. This is what we do here. So my question that you led me to here, thankfully, is now you have these endangered species and you want to spread them out, get them kind of spread out to other people. How does that happen?
So
Specifically Egyptian tortoises. But how does that happen where you get them to people? Let's say you're doing it for me. I'm not down for that, but say you're doing it with me. How do I have to get certifications? Do I have to get paperwork? Like, how does that work?
there's a lot of complications with it, but
Yeah,
for example, Egyptian tortoises, they're an ESA species. They were listed, I think it was May 1st, 2023, so almost 2 years
okay,
ago now, but they can no longer be sold over state lines unless you have I think it's a captive wildlife breeding permit, which no one's going to get. Um,
sure,
they can't be sold over state lines. They can only be donated.
okay,
So for me, when I learned the Egyptian tortoise existed, it's the second
yeah,
smallest tortoise in the world. I was
yeah,
like,
they're
dude, this is
awesome.
the coolest freaking thing I've ever seen. I want it.
Busting out.
But, you know, and I'm trying to figure out where I can get it, but there's a lot more that goes into it than, just having someone donate it to you because these are valuable animals,
Yeah,
people sell
yeah,
hatchlings for like $700. Right when they went ESA, I'm not going to name him, but there's a dude who sold a hatchling. He wanted $4,000 for a freaking hatchling. And
wow.
yeah,
Should probably drop
so
his name.
yeah. But yeah, no, so like, it's proving that you are capable of doing it, and that's what I've had to do, but it's paid off.
Okay,
Um, I pe- I don't know, it's kind of a little weird, but like I have a lot of energy and I'm a really energetic,
No.
outgoing
What?
person.
What?
So like people think like, I don't know why, like, and I could see it, but like people think like I'm like a flipper, but I don't flip animals. Like I
Oh,
don't even really sell animals other than hognose snakes. But, I've kind of had to prove that like, I'm really in this for like, just because I really like these animals.
yeah.
And, with a little bit of patience, I was able to get gifted my first Egyptian tortoise from Anthony, which, by the way, by his book, everyone who,
Maya's book.
yeah, he's got a lot of books. He just recently came out with 2 of them within the
Who
last
is
month.
this? Anthony who?
Anthony Pirleone. He just came out with the, here, I'll grab it real quick.
Yeah, do that. Somebody, one of you tortoise people, put that name in the comments, please, and thank you. It's
So,
Paleone. I'm going to
yeah,
mess that right up.
he just came out with this hefty ass book called Turtle Preservation with Russ Gurley, who is the who started the Turtle Tortoise Preservation Group. But yeah, the first thing that got me really into it was I kind of just like made a post and I was like, how do I get into this? How do I help? What can I do? And
Yeah.
really everyone just said like be present, show your mistakes as well as your victories, and kind of just show that you're in it for the long run. And that's kind of what I did. I started I started making these bioactive enclosures, sharing
Yeah.
stuff and networking. And then like, people just started like randomly saying like, hey, like, I got this for you if you want it. And, there's times I've turned animals away. Like this year, I've gotten a lot of animals, and there's animals I turned away because it's just not something I really wanted to work with, or I didn't have the capability to work with.
Sure.
Um, and then other animals, like, some of my bucket, I hate the term bucket list, but I use it a lot. But I got some of my bucket list
Everybody does.
species.
Yeah.
And then some things like I wasn't even expecting, and I was like, okay, I'll give this a try. Like Anthony sent me a Cohilan box turtle, which is another ESA, very rare species of turtles, and it's known as the aquatic box turtle. It's the only box turtle that's like fully aquatic.
I think we talked about this. Did we talk about it
Yeah,
was it last week?
yeah, it
Where
was
we're on the
last
live?
week,
Okay.
and
Okay.
I was like, I never actually had an interest in working with them, and he's like, you want one? I was like, I kind of like watched a couple of videos and started reading, and I was like, I didn't have an interest of these, but I kind of want to try it out. And he sent me one of those too, and like now I'm like really like in love with it. Like, you don't really know what you'll get into when it comes to this,
Yeah.
what species you'll end up liking and stuff. So,
So I got my blue tongue. Not really into
yeah.
this species. Do you want one? All right.
But yeah, no, and so like it really started with the TTPG, which is the Turtle Tortoise Preservation Group. It's a group of mostly like-minded individuals, private keeper, AZA, people who just really love turtles and tortoises and want to see them thrive. I became a member of that, and that's how I started getting gifted some stuff, or
Okay.
getting discounts on stuff. So that's really what sparked it into me. And then this year, 2024, my fiance and I, we traveled more than we've ever traveled like in a very long time. Cause like I
Okay.
said, earlier, well, before we started the show, I graduated college right when the shit show happened in 2020. And we didn't really do shit for 4 years. And then this year I was like, dude, we need to enjoy our year this year. So, we went to Turtle Fest back in April, and I met a bunch of people there, and then did the Turtle Tour, Florida tour, whatever the hell, back in
Okay.
August. And then we went to TTPG, the annual conference in Mesa, just a couple of weeks ago. And just networking like that and finding people is really what, kept it going. And Anthony likes to say this a lot, and he's on Just Turtles on YouTube. If he's commenting, I don't know if he is
Just
still
turtles. He
here.
was up here earlier. Yeah.
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 But he says this a lot, and I really like it. It's like you come for the turtles, but you stay for the people. And it's really
Okay.
true. Like some of these people I've only met like maybe one time now, but like I consider them lifelong friends. Um,
Yeah. You only
so
met him in person once, right?
it's huh?
You've only met him in person once, right? But
Yeah,
not like,
some of them. Yeah, some of
yeah,
them I
yeah,
met a couple of times, like 3 times this year.
yeah.
Just from the 3 events that I went to. But like, I don't know. It's weird because I could be wrong, but I don't see this in the ball python community, and maybe it's just because there's enough ball pythons out there. But like, when we're really trying to help these species, it makes it a lot better that you have so many other people that are willing to share and give their aspect on their different, cares and needs, and other
Yeah.
people and all that too. So I don't know. It's really cool. I think it's a really noble cause to try to help turtles and tortoises, because again, they're so in dire need of it, many species. So, the more people we can get into it is ultimately my goal. inspiring that younger generation of people, like how I was inspired. Like now I'm 26, and now I'm starting to talk to people that are younger than me that want to get into it. And it's like, holy shit, like now I'm old as hell for one, but
You're old as hell. Yeah.
yeah.
I could be your dad. It wouldn't even be on the news. Like it wouldn't even be a scandal.
Yeah.
It's fine. But you're teaching me. You're teaching me about tortoises, so that's good. I think I want to pause you because I think you cracked the code. So you're talking about comparing like the ball python community to the tortoise turtle community.
Oh yeah.
And not to like shit on the ball python people, but I don't think there's any groups out there like there's not a BPPG. There's like a ball python preservation group. You know what I mean? There's plenty of ball pythons in the universe. Too many, honestly. I'm tired of going to reptile shows and it's just ball pythons and then this guy over here with a table of not ball pythons. And I breeze right past them. I never want to. I've talked to a couple of people about ball pythons. They're cool. I think there's amazing, like, different morphs and everything.
Yeah.
There's some really sketchy.
Not for me.
Sure.
There's plenty of them out there. And like I said, we're not ever going to, ball pythons are never going to go extinct. Turtles and tortoises, there's a large number of them that are going extinct. So.
But like the whole aspect of the preservation of it, the investment, like that's another level of investment that you have in turtles and tortoises that I don't think ball python people, I doubt it even occurs to them, that level of it, that aspect of it.
A lot of it's driven by money, and not all of it. I give the ball, everyone knows I give the ball python community a lot of shit, but there are some really good ones out there.
There's some good people. There are a couple good people out there. At least a couple.
But why not? Why don't we take that drive and that passion and put it towards animals that are in serious need of it? And just spreading the news or getting one person to donate to some facility that we like or other things. It does a lot more than what people think.
And it means a lot. It inspires people to do more, and it's just good. Now, this is a serious question, kind of. Do you give the ball python people shit because your business could never be like Sam Sweaty Balls? Like you couldn't have that as your business name? Like it wouldn't work?
Sam's Balls? No, I don't know. I just give them shit because it's like, dude, you're breeding ball pythons? Come on. Like, are you, a follower?
I have seen so many balls jokes at shows on their signs, their banners is like, whatever, sweaty balls, rock hard balls. It's like, settle down, man.
I kind of, it's funny, but I mean, maybe some of that is why I give them so much shit. But the main reason is just because, like, dude, like, come on, like, we have enough. When are we gonna decide that? Yeah. Why can't we if we could do that with turtles and tortoises? We'd save their entire their entire genus if we could take that same motivation and put it towards them.
Well, to be fair, if you could put tortoises in a shoebox in a rack, then you could breed tortoises like that, like that would be no problem. So, but you can't. Like that's where the big breeders are coming from, like with the ball pythons, like and snakes in general. Like they're that sweater box rack style. And
you can keep them in confined areas, so you can have a lot in a small area. And
I think it's sad. I don't think that's good for the animal.
For turtles and tortoises, you can't really do that. There are some species you can, but not the way that you could keep ball pythons. So
I don't think that's good for the animal. I don't think any of that. Like I think your philosophy where like bigger is better, and the more you can give them, the better it is. I think that's fantastic. Yeah. Like we can't give them the wild, but we could do what we can. So, let's see. Do we want to talk about sulcattas?
Sure,
I want to see an Egyptian tortoise first.
Okay, let me grab my glove.
Yeah, get your gloves.
I'll go grab it real quick.
I can't believe I'm making fun of somebody. I'm Mr. PPE, and I can't believe I'm making fun of somebody for wearing gloves. You should see me when I do 3D printed miniatures with the resin. Like I have an allergic reaction to it, so I'm like full hazmat when I work with the resin for 3D printers. Break out in crazy blisters. It's insane.
So
wait a minute. No.
This is this is a hatchling, so they get bigger.
Sure.
But
not much.
The second smallest species of tortoise in the world. Also one of the rarest. Testudoclymeni, the Egyptian tortoise, and they originate from Egypt and Libya. In Egypt, as far as I'm aware, they're basically extinct. You can still find them in Libya I think it's Liberia. I don't know. Something right next to it, whatever.
Okay.
But this is also an opportunity to talk about the Climani Insurance Project, CAP. They just announced this at TTPG a couple weeks ago, but a couple of our good friends, Mark De Silva, one of them who commented, he's in it.
Yeah.
They're starting a project where essentially they're going to try to make their own stud book. We're going to eventually get into testing and try to, get this species in more places because they are an ESA species, and there's people breeding them in the US, but not to the numbers we'd like. So, they're still in a lot of danger. So this group, is working on getting this problem solved. And it's awesome. They just announced it, and I really hope it takes off because this is the perfect example why, there's a lot of conflict between AZA and private keepers, especially when it comes to Chelonians. But
sure.
In captivity, just from private keepers, I think there's been over 500 Testudo Climant or Egyptian tortoises bred. And I think in AZA facilities, zoo accredited facilities, I think there's been less than 5.
Okay.
So it shows that, if we can coordinate with AZA and zoos and aquariums and work with them, imagine what we could do. And it's a lot easier said than done. There's a lot of, things that go into it, but I just think it's a opportunity, that could really do good for the species. But yeah, I mean, this is my favorite tortoise as of all time right now. And, it's just a cute little tortoise, little dinky guy.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. That's the reason you're here. That's the reason you're on this show. On my show is because I heard you had these guys and I almost shit my pants. Like, I mean, how old is this guy? How old is this guy? He's not a hatchling.
I don't know the exact age of the hatch date, but he's under a couple of months.
Okay. So he's like a third grown.
Yeah, no, they don't get big. Yeah, I mean, they'll get. I mean, I'm trying to show, but like, they only get like that big. It's a freaking small tortoise.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just crazy being able to own one. Like, I did not think the day would come that I'd be able to get to own one of these. So
the ones I've seen are so active, have so much personality. Like, he's not trying to hide, really.
Yeah.
He's chilling.
Yeah, from what I've heard, actually, too, from my other buddies, like, they're shy species, but, he's been really active, runs out and everything. So it's really nice to be able to see that. So
the ones I see so they have them at Brookfield Zoo by me, and I'm a member. So I go to the zoo like 30 times a year to my zoo. So I used to go when I was single and just go with a sketchbook or headphones, my Walkman. Anybody remember Walkmans? Shout out old people.
I actually know what a Walkman is.
Oh, you know what one is. All right. I've seen one in museums. My dad had one in the back of his closet.
Right.
But I would just go and draw. But they have the 2, or they had 2. I think we talked about it before the show. But they only have one on display that I've seen in the last probably year. But I don't even think they're full grown because they're not a ton bigger than him. They're probably
they're
6 inches across, maybe.
What was that?
He's probably like 6 inches across, if that.
6 inches. If he's a 6-inch Egyptian tortoise, that's a big ass Egyptian tortoise. I will say that.
Okay, then I don't think he's that. I'm not good at that. I'm not good at inches. I'm a dude. So
I don't remember the exact grammage. I think like males are under 200 grams. Like it's a small tortoise.
Oh wow.
And that's the second smallest species in the world too.
What's the smallest?
I think it's the speckled tortoise or the parrotbeak tortoise. I'm not entirely sure.
I think somebody knows. Somebody's about to correct us.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's Jim's tortoise with 2 M's. Jim with 2 M's. So even if you get these things going, you can't. So right now you're trying to breed them or not breed them. You're trying to raise yours, kind of prove that you're worthy of a female.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's a male or female, but essentially right now, the goal is to build up my collection because this is a species I just want to work. Like, this is my species I want to work with. Like, out of all the endangered species, like, this is the one I'm in love with the most. So I'm just being selfish, and I want to keep doing that. So essentially, the biggest goal is to hopefully get some more, get different bloodlines, because obviously you don't want to bottleneck the population.
Right.
But ultimately, I want to raise these up, get a group going, and then be able to donate them back out to people. That's the whole goal.
Awesome. It's awesome. Keep that web going. So
Yeah.
Okay, I got mine from Sam, so I'm gonna breed mine with Jim's.
Yeah.
Or whatever, you know, we'll
Yeah, and
trade.
like I said, that Clemana Assurance Project group, they're doing a lot of work with building up their own stud book and everything. So, we know exactly where they're coming and where they're
Genius.
going to and all that. So, it's really cool. So I'm really excited for what they have in store too, and what we can contribute through there as well.
That's awesome. I wish you all the luck, and I want to keep track. I'm going to be watching your channel to keep track of how you're doing, because
Hell yeah.
it's something that I love these tortoises, and I'm not like a tortoise guy. I'm not intense about it, but these guys are just awesome.
Oh,
I
yeah,
like the little guys. I like the little
they're
guys.
cute, man.
You know.
Like if we could have the Egyptian tortoises available and as much as we do like Herman's tortoises, like they could be in a small enclosure,
Oh
Like
yeah.
they're some people keep them in like 3 foot long enclosures and they thrive. So
Sure. Like a
um
55 would be
yeah,
crazy.
literally yeah, they're such a cool tortoise.
So, and they're super desert, right? Basically, like
Yeah, so
arid
they're
style.
one of the species like where you don't like I keep all my hatchlings, most of my hatchlings like really
Yeah.
humid growing up.
Okay.
But yeah, this I'm spraying it in the morning and that's all I do. I'll soak them once a day and I spray in the
Okay.
morning and that's all I do. That's a species
Okay.
you can really mess up their shells really easily and they're really prone to having humidity issues. They are a
Okay.
true like desert species of tortoise, but they still need water. So you want to give
Sure.
it
Sure.
in different degrees. There's some people who will miss their tanks, I think, a couple times. There's different methods to keep them. We have this
Yeah.
one method called the European method. There's the Rolf Till method, and then there's one other. I can't remember what it is. But yeah, there's different methods to how people raise them up and everything too.
I like it.
So,
And there's always different methods with everything, right? You
yeah.
said you were into ice pods. Like that's the whole ice pod community.
Oh yeah.
There's different methods for literally every species of ice pod.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I wish you a million times luck. Like I'm from the era. I'm old enough that I got to. I shouldn't say got to, because this is animal abuse. But back in the day, where they would have Galapagos tortoises wherever, and you could like ride them as a kid. Like I've ridden a Galapagos tortoise, so I didn't appreciate it. I think I was like 2. I had no idea what was happening. I believe in the photos. I'm crying because I'm terrified. But yeah, it's not great. That's not a brag. It's just like that's how shitty things used to be when I was a kid.
No, it's yeah.
So you're kind of lucky to be in it now when people actually care.
Yeah. A lot has changed, and even since from when I started, so it's cool to see that.
Yeah.
Even in the last 4 years, a lot of shit has changed with keeping reptiles and exotic animals. So
It's insane the amount of information and husbandry techniques that are making such leaps and strides. And what's funny is a lot of it is kind of common sense. Just nobody took the time to do it yet.
oh yeah,
And
really.
it's crazy. Like if you put the effort in, what you're going to get out of it is so much better than just like, oh, I got a Exoterra at a garage sale and this thing physically fits inside it. So I'm going to let him live there. He'll be fine. I'll clean his poops, or I'll throw some isopods in and I don't ever have to clean the poops again.
Right.
Because there's still those people and we need to like shut them down. But there's still those people. That's the pet store mentality, I think.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. It's
too many pet store employees. I'm gonna throw you for a loop a little bit. We're gonna derail this train. We're not gonna talk about sulcattas because I think we all know sulcattas don't belong in the pet trade.
Okay.
Necessarily. They're for collectors. They're for serious collectors. I want to hear about, because I keep looking at the tank behind you. I want to hear about tortoises and bioactive. Like, why is it not done? Besides the fact that they're bulldozers. So what do you think of when you say bioactive for a tortoise?
So
what is your definition?
Bioactive for a tortoise, because you still got to feed the tortoises.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you got to do it with all the animals.
Everything bioactive, but yeah.
Like I said, for breeding turtles and tortoises, a lot of people, the main thing is they're going to destroy everything in there. And I was like, I want to make the most naturalistic enclosures that I absolutely can. And even recently with this build, everyone was like, it's not going to, like, they're going to destroy everything, like, blah, blah, blah. And I really like proving people wrong. And I've had to learn in a lot of very hard ways, but, I've been able to do it. Here, I'll move my camera and show you guys. But I have a fully bioactive pancake tortoise enclosure
that I built.
One of the lights is off, but yeah, I did a custom rock background, and like my ultimate goal is, I want to be able to have them be as naturalistic as they can.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, it's more appealing to me to be able to see them acting like that and just kind of exhibit some natural behavior. But I personally believe it's better for them too.
Now, to be fair, those are super hardy plants. So
yeah, and well, that's the thing. Like, it's a lot of people are like, oh, you can't put plants with tortoises because they'll get destroyed. I don't think it's you can't keep them. It's how you keep them. I've had to do trial and error with tons of different plants and have them get destroyed. And luckily I've been able to find some plants that I've been able to hold out. But it's a lot of it is trial and error. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I want to be able to keep doing bioactive and make, exhibit. Like Mark DeSilva, he says it a lot. He wants to make an exhibit for these animals, and that's kind of how I think of it too. So, but yeah, the big challenge is, pancakes were a little bit of a challenge, but bigger challenge was the redfoots, kind of the next step up. Connexus homiana, my hingeback tortoises, like the closure is bioactive, and it's kind of hard to see, but it's a piece of cake with them. Like they don't really eat plant matter, so. Really easy for them. The biggest challenge is probably going to be the Hermann's tortoises, I think. So, that's going to take some time. But yeah, my next one, like finished. I haven't made the video for this yet. I have it all recorded. I just haven't had time to put it together. But, this is my indoor redfoot tortoise enclosure that's bioactive. And you can see I don't really have any plants in the bottom because they've been destroying them. But, I can still make it look nice by putting the plants up higher, and it all works out.
You got bromeliads in there?
I got bromeliads. I try to do a lot of like native they're from South America, so I wanted to do like South American plants and all that, but I couldn't really do as many as I'd like. But pothos was a really good one, and it's vining, so I put it up high. I got bromeliads, I got mosses, wandering Jew, I'm trying to think what else. Snake plants. I got some air plants in there too. So it's doing great. They have destroyed a couple of the snake plants, but ultimately, all the plants up higher is the more important thing to me right now. So it's just working with what you got and learning the hard way with some things. I'm very lucky. So I actually, living in Tennessee, weirdly enough, there's not a lot of turtle and tortoise people in Tennessee, but we have two of like the best AZA facilities in like the world. We have Zoo Knoxville, which have plowshare tortoises, which are literally like the rarest tortoise ever. And I'm like 20 minutes away from Tennessee Aquarium, which does a lot of work with some really critically endangered stuff too. I was able to actually meet the guy who supplies all the plants for the Tennessee Aquarium. He lives like 40 minutes away from me, and he hooked me up with a bunch of like good plants. And like I got it for super, super cheap as compared to paying a ton of money at like the rest of the store. So, I now know him, and I can get plants through him, which is great. So yeah, it's just doing it it's a lot of work doing with turtles and tortoises because they need more space. You have to make a huge enclosure, and I'm a type of person, I like the backgrounds too. I want to see a full background and everything, but it's so worth it because I get to just see, like, I see these animals, they're so active and they're just doing their thing, and it just looks beautiful to look at. And it's like taking a slice of like the jungle or wherever they're from and just putting it in your house. And I think, ultimately that's the best thing you can do. So I'm going to continue to do it. People, they didn't give me shit, but they said it's not going to work. And there's been struggles. Like some of the main, like I said, is bulldozing and eating plants, but it's working around that and figuring out how to do it in a way that works for you. So I'm still learning all that, and I'll continue to learn all that, but it's not something I'm going to give up on. And ultimately, I want to make bioactive enclosures for all my turtles and tortoises. So
now, what in this tank right behind you, your redfoots? What kind of eye spots? Like what kind of detritivores have you got in there?
So I have red wriggler worms. I got obviously springtails, dairy cow isopods, powder orange. I'm trying to think, there was something else I had in there too. I just can't remember what it was. But yeah, those are my main detritivores that I put in there, and they're doing a good job.
And their snacks now and then, I'm sure, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the redfoots, they'll eat more, protein matter, but they
Yeah.
don't really go for the bugs. They're kind of like, I don't
Okay.
know, like, I think they're scared of them, so they haven't really gone for them. But they do like worms.
Scared of the dairy cows. That
Yeah, it's
makes
weird.
sense.
Like
That makes sense.
the creepy crawly bugs, they won't go for, but they'll eat worms.
Yeah.
And they do burrows, so sometimes they will get some, but ultimately everything's doing pretty good in there. So
That's awesome.
it's going well. The
No, that's really
the
good.
bioactive pancake tortoise enclosure, I have Armadillidium maculatum zebra isopods,
Okay.
and then I got Armadillidium gestroy, whatever they're called.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I have in there, and they're doing a really good job, and the pancakes don't touch them. So
That is wild that they don't. I would expect them to just be like, "Oh, hey, you're there. You're with yellow spots. You're a very
Yeah.
striking individual." How? That's what I would do. I mean, as a tortoise. I mean, come on. So they eat like no animal matter. Basically, they don't care for it at all.
The ones that I'm currently doing, yeah. But if I did like a bioactive Central American wood turtle enclosure, like they would annihilate it. Like they are just like they're like homeless dogs. Like they'll eat anything.
That's the ones that are mostly flat too, right? They're still pretty flat as well.
The Central American wood turtles.
Yeah, yeah.
They're
more like a box turtle.
Yeah, they're like the wood turtles are kind of similar to box turtles.
Okay.
They're a little bit more aquatic, but they live inside outside land. Really pretty turtles, but yeah, they ravage anything. Like anything I put in there, they come running out and they're ready to kill it. So, but it's different with every species. Every single species is different. So
that's what makes them awesome.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't like. I had to dial it down. I was like, I'm gonna have Doug on, and we're gonna talk about turtles. Then we have Sam on, and we're gonna talk about tortoises. And it's like, whoa. I thought about it for 5 seconds. No, you can't. There's so much. That's such a broad brush. So
you can make an episode about every species, really.
Yeah, that's why I love doing this show. Like, how do you run out of ideas? You can't. You literally can't. I mean, we could just talk about tortoise food supplements for 6 weeks.
Oh yeah, okay.
And this is the first time we've talked about turtles, I think, on the show. Turtles and tortoises was this week and last week in 3 years. Weird. I don't know. Does anybody else have any other questions? I didn't see any questions pop up about Hermann's, except that it does have 2 ends. I was corrected in my description of the video and the title of the video, just not on the card. I think I just missed the end. I was doing it at work. I was doing my title card at work. In between customer. I work at a bank, so it's been insane because Christmas.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah. My wife's like, "How much cash did you have in your hand today?" And I was like, "Oh, we got our cash orders." It was like $240,000. She's like, "What do you do with that?" I said, "Oh, we just put it in a drawer till we can use it."
Oh,
what do you mean in a drawer? I'm like, "It's just in a drawer." "Is it locked?" "No, it's not locked. Just in a drawer." What are you talking about?
Cameras. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Oh no, our cameras were down. They just got them back on this afternoon. Like our cameras, we didn't know. We didn't have cameras for 2 weeks.
What bank do you work at? What's the address?
Yeah, I can't give it to you. That's a problem. But it's not in Joliet. I'll tell you that. It's not near my house. But yeah, they're kind of sketchy. I didn't realize we were in that much danger at my job.
Yeah, no, that's bizarre. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
I do miss Portillo's now that we're talking about you working wherever.
You don't anymore. Like
no,
corporate.
I'm telling you, like I hated Portillo's when I lived in Illinois, and now that I'm it's been 3 years since we've moved out, and like I miss Portillo's so much. We were actually in Mesa, Arizona a couple weeks ago for TTPG, and they had Portillo's there, and I was like, dude, we have to go. Like there was no option. We have to go to Portillo's.
See, I'm spoiled rotten. They went corporate, and it's not the same. So it's like I'm so against it. I go in there and I'm like, oh man, I want Portillo's. And I go in and I'm like, they tricked me. Like there's a merch wall now. There's like, it's all that. That's all it is. And the kid at the counter didn't know what jus was. I was like, can I get the jus on the side? And he's like, oh yeah. So then I see on my ticket sport peppers. And I was like, whoa, no, I did not order sport peppers. You said jus. What? I was like, I want to see a manager.
It's a sad world we live in now.
I full Karen. I was like, there's no way Dick would be spinning. I don't think he's dead. I don't think Dick is dead, but he would be upset if the kid didn't know what jus was.
Yeah, that's so sad.
Yeah. But anyway, get bone of beef. It's better. So
true.
Bone of beef.
I've had it before.
It is now. It wasn't. Yeah, give it to a tortoise. See what happens. They're already shitting every time you pick them up. So
they are. Oh god. That's like the biggest downside of them is they shit. So I mean, going
The
bioactive with
Hermans.
tortoises, you still have to clean
Yeah.
their water bowl. Like there's no way
Oh,
around it. Like because they love shitting in their water.
well, that's the
Um,
thing, right? You soak them, you feed them and soak them, and then
yeah.
they shit, and then you're good to go.
Oh well, you would think, but then they go and then you soak them, for 30 minutes, and they're you think everything's out, and then you clean out their enclosure, give them more fresh new water, then they go straight to the water and then shit in it again. So it's like they have something against
Uh,
us. It's like they're working against us in terms like
yeah.
that, right?
Oh, you want to breed us? You're gonna earn this program.
Yeah,
You're
literally.
gonna
So
earn
yeah,
this.
yeah. The shitting water is the only thing you cannot get around when going bioactive with them, but at
Unbelievable.
least I don't have to clean up their poop around the enclosure, so that works
They
out.
just go in their water dish, so they're not like dumping all over the place.
That
Basically, in the water
or if they
dish.
poop in their enclosure, the ice pods and all that will get them. But
Okay, so it's not often enough that it's a big problem.
yeah, yeah. So it's
So
that's at least nice. A biggest thing is
yeah,
like when you think like keeping this many animals, especially like turtles and tortoises, they smell if you let them get to
yeah,
the point where they
yeah,
can smell. Um, you walk into my house and you cannot smell them. Like my whole basement, I've got I don't know how many animals in here, but it's not a big
yeah,
basement, and you can't smell. The thing you could smell in our basement is our freaking litter box. Like we have two cats and we have three litter boxes. We have a litter robot and then two regular litter like cat litter things,
yeah,
and you
yeah.
smell the cats more than you can smell anything else.
That's a
So
shame. That's
yeah,
my. I have 3 cats, and like I want an open top tortoise thing, but I have one cat that's a terrorist, and that'll be a problem.
well, that's actually
So
another good topic. My
yeah, let's do
cats,
it.
they don't bother them. Like one of our
Okay,
cats is really old, and he never cares for them.
okay.
We had our younger cat. He lays in the, like I'll look at my cameras and he used to lay in the enclosures like basking under the heat lamp next to the tortoises.
The
And then
tortoises
a
didn't
couple
care.
squirts. Yeah, I had to squirt him with water a couple of times, but like he never bothered them. He never did anything to them. Our dog, he loves them. Like I don't let the dog down here unsupervised. Only the cats can come
Sure.
down.
Yeah.
But yeah, he doesn't do anything to him. Anytime he walks in, he goes right up to the Herman's tortoise enclosure. He just puts his head in and he just sniffs them. So I've gotten very lucky that our animals have been really good with them. Obviously,
Yeah.
the other like more endangered stuff, obviously keeping sealed enclosures, but like my leopard tortoise enclosure and the Herman's tortoise enclosure, like those are open top and never had any issues, thankfully. I've been very careful with watching them to make
Yeah.
sure, but yeah, they don't do anything with them, so it's
I think a
nice.
house cat. I think a house cat that's been around animals would be real hard pressed to like kill your animal, but they could definitely do inadvertent
Yeah,
damage.
yeah. I don't take any. I mean,
So,
like I said, I don't any of the hatchlings. I wouldn't keep that
oh, for
way
sure. Yeah.
around them. So I keep it all sealed and all that stuff. But
They're
yeah,
still predators. They're still
yeah. At the end of the day,
predators,
they're still predators.
and they play rough. So
Oh yeah, they do.
that's a good point. Yeah, because I had to redo my blue tongues enclosure, the lid, because it was like a donut basically. It's just to
Uh
keep her
huh.
from getting out. And then I have a big monstera that's growing out of the top,
Okay.
and it was great. It was great for a long time. And then we found this asshole Siamese cat, and he was getting in there like every day. And
Oh
so,
God.
well, the first day it was like 3 times, and I kept
Yeah.
grabbing him, and no, that's not for you. And then he would go right back to it. And he would just sit and stare, and my blue tongue would stress out real hard. So I had to adjust the lid, and then he figured out how to get in that, and it's been a nightmare. But
Yeah.
we're good
It's
now. But
yeah. I've
yeah,
gotten lucky. I'm very thankful I've gotten lucky because like I said, the one I was worried with was our younger cat because I actually saw him on video going in there, but like
no
after
problems.
yeah, he was just basking. He would literally lay next to the tortoise, and like the heat lamp would be over him. And then I just squirted him with water a couple days in a row, and he hasn't bothered him since.
Then he's like, "That's enough." See, they're smart. They're smart.
Yeah,
Let's work on. See this terrorist cat? He doesn't care. He's like, "Oh,
really.
water." He's jumped in the shower with me and just like
Oh
chilled in
God,
the shower. So I'm like,
yeah.
okay, awesome. Now he's gonna
Cats
go
can be
sit on my
cringe.
bed.
Cats can be a little tricky, but
So, you got any parting wisdom for us on Herman's
um,
tortoises specifically?
not really. Other than it's really cheesy, but the turtle and tortoise community is one of the best communities I've ever been a part of. Like I've had a lot of hobbies. Um,
Yeah,
but the people who are really in it for the good, that really just genuinely care about these animals, they are willing to help others, and that's something I really appreciate. And I've made a lot of really good friends through TTPG, which the Turtle Tortoise Preservation Group, and just, you know, talking with people. And I am really thankful for that. And I don't say it enough, but, you know, they've helped me, you know, live my passion. So yeah, it's just, you know, if anybody is someone who just really wants to help an animal, there's plenty of animals out there within the Chelonian, you know, taxon that need
Yeah.
help. And you know, people are willing to give these animals away to help, you know, as long as it's to the right person that isn't going to go around and sell it, but they're willing to give them away to you if you are someone who wants to try to do something to, you know, help them out. So the opportunity is there for everybody. You just gotta show that you want it, and you show that you're, you know, a good person and want to do it. So I always tell people, like, if you're nervous about getting into it, just do it, because I became a paid member. I bought a lifetime membership for like $300, or you could buy like a monthly membership. But you know, I just did a lifetime. I bought it like June 2023, so just over a year, and I've gotten, you know, probably like 6 animals now through it. Some that I would never have gotten these animals if I never, you know, became a part of that group or anything. So it's a really good thing to be a part of, and I'm really proud to be a part of that. So you're gonna have frustrations, obviously. I mean, what we do with all animals, and you're gonna have losses, and you're gonna make mistakes, but ultimately learning from those mistakes and even showing the mistakes that you've made to warn others is a good thing. Because, you know, we're not all going to have just consistent victories. None of us have. Yeah. So, you know, showing the goods and the bads is really important with all that too. But, you know, ultimately just being part of that community is a very liberating thing to be, you know, a part of, you know, and it makes me happy, and I get to do what I love, you know, as my second job, essentially. Not really, I don't get paid for it, but it's just cleaning a lot of shit water every day. But
8 hours a day,
I wouldn't trade it for anything else. You know, I get to do what I love day in and day out. So that's all I got to say.
You could do that too, guys. You could do that too. Everybody get a turtle, get a tortoise today. Go out tomorrow. All the turtle stores are closed right now. Go tomorrow. Yeah. Don't do it. If you're serious about it, do it. That's awesome, Sam. Thanks. I'm gonna pull you out and do my end stuff, clear my throat. If you want to hang out and bullshit afterwards, that's cool. If not, that's cool too. So
yeah, I'll be here.
That's what we do sometimes. So, all right, give me a minute. Guys, that was Sam. So I learned a lot today and had a lot more questions. So this could have been a 3-hour episode for me anyway. I know it's late over where Sam's at. So like an hour later, I think, maybe. Yeah, something like that. So I hope you learned something too. I hope you got inspired to get a Herman's tortoise. Get started on a starter tortoise. Okay. Don't worry about making a bioactive, because you won't. Let Sam figure that out. Let him get through the headaches, and he'll figure it out for you. Okay. So next week is, I think, Christmas. So we're not going to be around. So we're going to be busy. I think it's on Christmas. I think Tuesday is Christmas. The next week is New Year's Day. We're going to be doing stuff that day too. I'll be at Brookfield Zoo probably if you want to come stop by. Oh, thanks, Doug. Next month, we've got a couple things lined up. I'm going to be talking with Smugbug about genetics. We're going to talk with, I don't even remember. I'm so bad at this. A couple other people about a couple other things. We're going to do another mental health episode to kick the year off. What else? That's it, guys. That's all I got today. So stay awesome and make your community stronger. I think the tortoise community, I think everybody's right. The Chelonian community is probably the top dog for me right now. So that's a reason for me to want to get turtles or tortoises, is to get involved with those folks and get hip deep in that. The ant folks are like that too. Just so you know, ant folks are pretty awesome. So we'll see you in a couple weeks. All right. Have a great holiday, whatever holiday it is. Have a good one. Okay. Just, you know, it'd be better if you chose Jesus. I'm kidding. Just do what you want. Do what you want for religion or non-religion. Whatever. Have a good one, guys. Love you.